What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Air It Out podcast. I'm your humble host. My name is Avery Collins, and I'm joined on a panel full of amazing analysts. And as you can see, we got a special guest here, and I want to introduce him. His name is Ray Roberts, a.k.a. my twin, a.k.a. the man, the myth, the legend. Ray, unmute and say what's up to the people.
I'm glad to be here with you guys. My first time. I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest with you. But I'm hoping we can dig into some football stuff for this week. I really want here to touch about the Brian Flores situation more than anything else, because I am a lifelong Dolphins fan. I've been a Dolphins fan for 51 years, so that's good and bad, actually. So, yeah.
All right. So we got our comments in already. This is my mother saying hello to everyone and to you, Ray. Shout out to my mom. Happy to have you on.
Nice to meet her. Any mother that raised such a great gentleman is a friend of mine, so that's good.
Thank you so much. We also have Coach Braxton in the building. Coach, say what's up to the people.
Listen, I know we are a football podcast, but can I bring it up? We were just talking about it. Mr. James Harden to Philly. Oh my! Listen, I had class today. In the middle of class, I stopped and was like, "So, gentlemen, just to let you guys know, I'll be going to Sixers game, so I may be coming in a little bit late tomorrow because Mr. James Harden is down the Sixers." So we had a little bit of excitement in my class today. It was a good day, man. Good day.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Today is your birthday, Avery?
Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday. Let me guess, you're 29 and holding.
Thank you so much. Actually, I am 31, officially in my 30s. I'm officially a grown-up, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to that. We are here. We're doing good. Shout out to Coach and talking to your class about James Harden. I don't get what the hype is about. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and bring in Juan, the one and only. Say what's up to the people. Jerome calls Ray a traitor. If you don't know, Ray is notoriously and consistently on the RPO podcast, also brought to you by Inside the Hashes. So we thank him for joining us today. Juan, say what's up.
It's freezing here. All right, it's still freezing. That's why the beard has grown out to the extent that it is right now. I look like a mountain man out in Alaska, even though I'm in Milwaukee. So, out here surviving. But I'm seeing the only consistent news that I've been getting is all this Aaron Rodgers speculation stuff. And we're going to dive deep into it already. But honestly, is it weird that I'm sick of hearing about Aaron Rodgers and I've only been in Wisconsin for a year?
I mean, I guess not really. You're a New Yorker at heart, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So what
stuff like that? So I understand it.
Juan, what football team you're a fan of?
I'm a Jets fan.
Oh, have we ever met before or no?
Maybe once or twice.
Okay, you know what? Remind me do you ever see? I guess you don't see Jerome since you're out in Wisconsin, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of Jets gear that I would like to give to you.
Really?
It's only all it is face mask and a pair of slides, but they're brand new. Somebody gave them to me. I made the mistake of telling a gentleman that I was a Curtis Martin fan, and I guess he took that from that I was a Jets fan. So,
I am not from Central Jersey, Jerome. I'm from North Jersey. Central Jersey does not exist, and I will die on that hill.
Listen, like I said, he's a New Yorker at heart, okay, with the Syracuse and did great things up there.
Ray, we'll connect afterwards about that Jet gear, man.
You got it, man. Absolutely.
You living up to the shirt, man. You are the man. You are the myth. You are the legend.
It's funny. My wife heard Jerome call me that one time, and she bought me the shirt, so I wear it every week now. I wash it every week too, though. Okay,
hey, we believe you. We believe you. All right. Okay, all right. Listen. Obviously, we're talking about the Jets, but that's Juan's team. We want to talk about Ray, your team, and little bit of controversy surrounding that team at the moment. If you don't know, we're talking about the Miami Dolphins. We touched on this last week. If you don't know, again, Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, was, in my opinion, unceremoniously fired after bringing, again, yet another winning season to that franchise. He was fired, and after which he decided to file a lawsuit against the NFL, and he cited some pretty egregious acts and allegations from said Miami Dolphins. So we want to give Ray the opportunity to kind of speak on it and hear what he's got to say about it, because again, as the resident Dolphins fan here, I'm sure you have your own thoughts and opinions on it. So what was your first initial thought when you heard, one, that Flores was fired, and then two, about him suing the league and all the things coming out surrounding the team?
I'm no different than anybody else. Initially, I was surprised. I thought he had done a pretty good job, not a great job, but a good job of coaching the Dolphins. He did have a 7-game losing streak, which usually coaches don't survive after that. Now, again, he did have a 7-game winning streak also. So I think that Brian Flores is a good coach. I don't know if he's cut out to be a head coach. I don't. Not that, again, he did a nice job in Miami. He did. Solid job. But he also was unable in 3 seasons to hire offensive coordinators, offensive coaching staff that could help them, take the step to the next level. He was asked repeatedly for this past season. We were told, I should say, by the GM, and this is the last meeting they had after they beat New England for the last game of the season. The GM, Chris Greer, who's been with Miami for a very long time, but he's only been the GM for 3 years now. He asked Brian if he could help him hire an offensive staff, and Brian Flores said, no, I'll hire my own coaches. And that was the line that was drawn in the sand, and that's where he didn't make it through it. And I mean, they wanted to try to rehire Jim Caldwell. He was like, yeah, well, we tried that once. It didn't work. And I don't disagree with that. They wanted to bring Ken Dorsey, the quarterback coach from Buffalo, who is a Miami legend, basically, from the University of Miami, to be the offensive coordinator. And then when he said no to that, they wanted to hire Deuce Staley, and then he said no to that. So, I understand that he did a good job, but I don't think he did a great job. I don't know. And I'm not saying he should have been fired. I see Miami's point of view on why they felt like they had to do it.
Understood. So do you think that even with that, because as a head coach, right, you're kind of giving the reins to the team to hire your own coaching staff, right? Like that is one of the things that most organizations give leeway and say to the head coach, like you get to hire your staff and everything. Do you feel like Brian Flores may have felt like you're infringing upon territory and freedoms that you've given me by asking me to bring in these specific guys? And I'm like, I have my own guys, because based on his philosophy, because we got to remember it's the head coach's philosophy, and essentially everybody kind of has to flow in line with that. And maybe he felt these guys don't necessarily or won't necessarily flow in line with the vision of what I have long-term for Miami, because obviously we saw the team was bought in. He didn't lose the locker room. They were trending upward. Do you think that had, something to do with it?
I understand the fact that usually, but here's the thing, usually coaches that hire their own staffs completely are experienced head coach. And he is only in his 3rd year. That's one.
Yeah.
2, he was given a chance to hire an offensive staff, 4 different offensive coordinators, 3 different offensive line coaches in 3 seasons. Okay, again, that's a problem. I mean, and here's what, and I listened to podcasts of the Miami Dolphins from everybody, and there were people that were saying that Brian Flores did not talk to his own coaching staff for 2 months during the season. Again, that's stuff that's been reported. And anybody who wants to say, well, we don't know if that's true, you can go on the Big O show, Joe Shad, Omar Kelly, all these guys have been reporting that for 2 months now, that definitely happened. So again, I'm only going to go by the guys that I think are legitimate sources. They're guys that because I don't live down in Florida, obviously.
Yeah.
So I listen to them to kind of get a feel of what is going on.
That makes sense. I mean, some people there's an objection that some people would say, well, those are just people who may have wanted Flores gone. And so that's why the rhetoric. Maybe they're spreading a rumor, or maybe they are people who want to essentially tarnish his name because they don't want to see him get another coaching job or whatever the situation is. Do you think that another caveat may have been offensive personnel in that regard, right? Because, I mean, prior to this year, getting Jalen Waddle, I mean, they still don't have a running back who, I mean, really threatens anybody. Their best receiver, Devontae Parker, can't really stay on the field. And then you finally got Jalen Waddle. Mike Gesicki is obviously, I believe, one of the top 10 premier tight ends in the league. But with the quarterback, some people feel that as though, Brian Flores may have been shipped out because he didn't want Deshaun Watson and different things like that. Do you think it was offensive personnel coupled with the lack of offensive, coaching personnel?
Always hand in hand. It's always coaching and personnel, without a doubt. If you listen to me, I like Tua. I think he's a good I think he's a good kid. I think he's a good system quarterback. I do. I don't think he's a star. I never have. And Jerome will be the first one to tell you, I pounded the table for Justin Herbert. But if we all remember the draft, how the draft went 3 years ago, people were pounding the table. You have to take Tua. You have to do it. And I disagree with it because I look for upside. I saw more upside in Justin Herbert. That's why I wanted Justin Herbert. But once you commit to Tua as the head coach, you have to do everything to make him or help him succeed. And Brian Flores was the one guy in the building who was out on him after last year.
Okay. So I'm hearing varying reports there because I'm hearing that that Flores actually loved Tua, and that's the reason that he didn't want to bring in Deshaun Watson, and that's the reason that he made the change from Fitzpatrick to Tua, in the long term, especially doing it as soon as he did and different things like that.
The last 2 weeks, Brian Flores was the only one who was talking to Deshaun Watson. No one else was.
Hey, listen, it'll definitely be interesting to see. But yeah, Coach, do you have any final thoughts on it? As far as the Brian Flores is, no, okay, head shake there.
No, I don't want to really speak on it too much more because at this point I really want to see it more so play out than anything else.
Gotcha. Obviously, I do, and like last week, I did listen again. I listened to your guys' podcast last week, and I believe Coach Braxton was correct. I don't think that Brian Flores will ever coach the NFL again.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a hard.
Crazy thing about it is, it's not because of the race thing.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a situation where he's suing the league. Like it's hard to save face from that.
It's not even that, Avery. For one, if you wanted to be a Jim Caldwell and complain about racism, you have every right to. You coached in Detroit for 4 seasons. In Detroit, had 3 winning seasons, made the playoffs twice, and got fired. If you want to be an Eric Bieniemy who's been waiting for 4 years to get a job and it still hasn't happened, I got that. If you want to be a Deuce Staley who's wanted an offensive coordinator position for the last years and your own team that drafted you wouldn't give you that opportunity, I am right on board with him. The reason why Brian Flores will never coach the NFL is because he brought up the lawsuit about Miami throwing games. You can't be in the position where you want to have a partnership with legalized gambling and tell them my owner was telling me to throw games. That's really should have been thought out a little bit better. The race thing, yeah, man, he's right. There is definitely a problem with racism in the NFL. It's most of the teams in the NFL are owned by old white guys. Let's face it. It is what it is. And it's wrong. And it's not, I would love to think at this time, man, that it would get better, but I don't know if it will. It should, but I don't know if it will. But I do think that they need to improve. What I think really, you said it best, Avery, you need to have some minorities that are working, not only owning NFL teams, but at least being part ownership in the league. That's what you need to happen. And now I know you guys probably won't remember this. Maybe you will, Avery. You're 31 now, so maybe you will. When Walter Payton went to the NFL in the late 80s and wanted to buy a team, they laughed him out of the room. That's Walter Payton, one of the top 5 players that's ever played in the league, and they laughed him out of the league. That should have been the first indication there was a problem.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, obviously, race does play a part in these decisions and a lot of these things that go on in the league. I mean, I don't think there's any way to kind of deny it anymore. And if anybody denies it, it's like it's a choice.
I mean, yeah, man. Like I tell people all the time, I started playing football when I was 8 years old. That race stuff is out the window with me, man. I have guys, minority guys, that a couple of them live in Atlanta, that I played football, Pee Wee League. I still talk to them to this day, man. They're my brothers, dude. And that's just how I look at it. I can't help the fact that rich people don't see the world the way normal people do.
That's a fact.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that is a very, very true fact. And yeah, so I mean, and you, like I said, I've known you for a couple years now, and I know that you see and recognize what's going on. It's one of the things that I appreciate about you, Juan. Any last thoughts on the Brian Flores situation before we, kind of move into our next topic?
It's a lot to break down, and unfortunately I wasn't here last week to talk about it. All the points that I can make have already been made. The only thing I can add additionally is that there needs to be a more sense of diversity among NFL ownership. While Ray, you brought up a great story about Walter Payton and how he was laughed out of the room. The NFL ownership since then has slowly but surely started to diversify, but not enough. The Pagulas, Kelly Pagula, she's of Asian American descent, so there's a little bit of diversity there. The Jacksonville Jaguars owner, Khan, also of Middle Eastern Arabian descent, so it's slowly growing, but it's not at a faster pace. And I watched Roger Goodell's press conference the other day regarding the state of the league and about wanting to diversify ownership for the Broncos. I don't think it's going to happen because that's how the NFL usually operates. They'll say one thing and then act in the complete opposite way that you'd expect them to.
Yeah.
That being said, I think despite the lawsuit, despite being open about the whole tanking and getting money for every loss thing, Brian Flores will get another job. Not this year, but a year after, because he is too good of a coordinator, too good of a football mind that some team will not come making an inquiring call for a defensive coordinating job that will again work Flores back into a head coaching position. That's just the cycle of how the NFL works. It's always been like that and always will be.
The other thing is, remember, you look at a team like the Houston Texans, right? The Houston Texans actually had Flores as one of his ways to or one of their candidates to take in the next head coaching job or position in their organization. They ended up going with Lovie Smith. But remember what I referenced earlier today, head coaches are typically given the leeway to hire their own coordinators. So there's definitely a possibility that we could see Brian Flores becoming a coordinator even as soon as this year in the NFL if a head coach decides to take that, because if the ownership is going to say, we've given you the leeway, they're going to have to stand on that if they decide to go with Flores. So it'll definitely be an interesting situation. Ray, I don't know if you have to jump off. I know you said you had to jump off around 7:30. We were going to move into our next topic, but before we do, wanted to give you an opportunity to give final thoughts.
Okay, I mean, I can stay on for a couple more minutes, but here's the one thing. I agree with what Juan said. he is a very good defensive mind. There's no question. I will never question that. My question is, do you think his ego will allow him to be a coordinator again without wanting to be a head coach? And the last thing I want to say is his all-white lawyer team saying that the only reason Lovie Smith was hired is because of a lawsuit did not do anybody any favors at all. Nobody.
Very true. I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
To kind of answer with the whole ego thing, I think Flores is too well liked as a coach among players in this league, where like despite everything else, it will still be a draw for players to have him in a locker room, in meetings and in attendance, because he knows how to relate.
I can tell you one player who doesn't like him, and that's Tua. Because after the Tennessee game, they had to be separated on the plane, and that's Tua Tagovailoa, who I've never heard anybody say anything bad about. And your head coach had to be separated because they were going to get into an altercation, because Flores started to point the finger at him, and this is a fact, not my opinion, fact. Pointed the finger at him, and he said to him, well, maybe I shouldn't have thrown the ball 40 times in an ice storm then. And then that's when they went after each other.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, it's a very, very it's a very choppy situation. It's not linear at all. It's a situation that has so many moving parts, so many different narratives, so many different speculations surrounding it. So it's tough to make a concrete observation or resolution on it, because 1, we weren't there, 2, we weren't in their minds, 3, we don't know what conversations went on. All we do know is that hopefully we'll get some type of resolution with the lawsuit and what plays out with that. I'm surprised Daryl Morey didn't get a lawsuit for that trade for James Harden, the last one, I swear. Chris, are we done? Okay, we're done.
Listen, you gotta celebrate, man. We gotta celebrate.
Is on the Dolphin staff now. Thoughts, Ray? What are your thoughts on Wes Walker being brought in on the Dolphin staff?
Good football player. Obviously, a guy who worked at his craft. That was really, if you think about it, they're the best coaches. The guys that had to work the hardest to get on the field are usually the best coaches.
The original Antonio Brown. I keep trying to tell people.
Not to mention, Antonio Brown. He was on the 49ers staff that helped develop Deebo Samuel. I forgot the name of the other. Brandon Ayuk. And
Juwan Jennings.
You can make the case for Kittle in regards to receiving. Maybe there's some notes there, but
that is the best thing about it, though. Miami already pilched their wide receiver coach and their tight ends coach.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. All right, so we're going to move into our next topic, and that is something that has actually taken place tonight. NFL Honors, yes, the award show, handing out awards for the NFL season, the 2021-2022 NFL season. And I mean, obviously, the big award, I mean, I don't even have to say it. The big award is, that's the question, right? I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to start with you, Coach. What awards are you looking to see handed out, and who do you think is going to get the big bang, the coup de grace?
All right, so Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like that's honestly the most intriguing.
It is. It really is.
It is. TJ Watt is a big contender. Mm-hmm. Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa, Mike Parsons. Those are your top guys right now. And it's crazy, just the seasons that they've had and the ability they've had. But the man had 22 and a half sacks. And he didn't play all 17 games.
Yeah, I think that's tough.
I can't even hate on it. Like, I can't. I love great football, and that is great football, no matter how you spin it.
Absolutely.
But I do want to see the battle between, if they do it correctly, between these two guys, Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor. Who do they give it to? The Triple Crown Russian leader, who basically single-handedly almost took his team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good matchup.
That's going to be good.
I think that's the debate right there between them two. I mean, and it's hard for me to pick. As Avery knows, my son is a Rams fan, so I will lean towards Cooper Kupp, but I would not have a problem with Jonathan Taylor because I had both of them on my fantasy team and still lost this year. So imagine that.
That's tough. That's a tough.
That is not good.
That's a tough loss there.
But I think TJ Watt should win the Defensive Player of the Year because, again, like Coach Braxton said, 22.5 sacks. Plus, Aaron Donald's won a couple of them. They'll kind of like want to share it a little bit. And the guy was, again, like Coach Braxton said, the guy was a stud all year. So, and he's got to be the guy. So,
Absolutely. And it's not even just sacks. It's tackles for loss. Being able to set the edge. He covers when needed. Hurting all this. I
want to know why is it that the Miami never gets those guys, man?
Listen, I think me and Juan can kind of probably attest to that. And
Jason Taylor for the longest time.
I mean, listen, he's talking about currently, and I think we can share in that pain there.
Jason Taylor was a very good football player.
But I can't relate.
Jalen Phillips.
Jalen Phillips is going to be a stud, I think, and he's
looking good.
No, he could be that guy. It depends. Well, Brian Flores had him dropping in coverage in his first year too, and then he's like, you know what? Forget about all that. Just go get the quarterback, and we'll go with that for now. So I think Jalen. I think he is the guy. I think he could be that. I'm not going to say 20 sacks, but he could be that guy. He could be my next Jason Taylor. I love Jason Taylor, man, Juan, but I keep waiting for Zach Thomas to get in the Hall of Fame. To me, Zach Thomas was a better football player. I mean, I know they play different positions, and the sack stats or what the sack stats are, but I'm not going to say Jason Taylor was overrated, but that's all he did, though. You talked about setting the edge, dropping back in coverage, stopping the run. All Jason Taylor did was rush the quarterback.
Yeah, but so did Kevin Green for most of his career.
Yeah, but there's a reason. That's why Kevin Green waited 10 years to get in the Hall of Fame. His sack numbers are the only reason he went in.
Now, let me ask you.
Jason Taylor went in on the first ballot. That's what surprised me.
Now, let me ask you this, bro. Let's get back to the NFL honors. Who do you think is going to be – because I don't want to miss your take on this before you have to leave. Who do you think is going to win the Big Shebang Award?
What is that?
The MVP.
The MVP. Wow.
Who's your MVP?
That's difficult. That is very difficult. If it were up to me, honestly, I would give it to Tom Brady. No, it's not Michael Jordan for sure. I would give it to Tom Brady.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you in that regard. I would also give it to Tom Brady.
I wouldn't give it to Bill Belichick either, but yeah.
You guys are killing me. I mean,
I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers is annoying, okay, man? Plain and simple.
That's true.
It's also the fact that, like,
you look at Tom Brady's stats, though, at 44 years old, man.
Not to mention the fact that he did it with a lot of his players going down due to injury, while Aaron Rodgers still had consistent weapons across the season. Okay,
but did they win though?
The MVP is not supposed to be.
Did Aaron Rodgers? Did Rodgers win his playoff game?
I can make a case for Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor being the MVP.
That's true.
So let's put it out there. My vote, Jonathan Taylor. We're talking about the MVP. Okay. It's the most valuable player
that didn't make the playoffs.
Listen here. I'm sorry.
I mean,
but
that's
the most valuable player to the team, to any team, if you take Jonathan Taylor off, The Colts.
That is a fact, though. Take Jonathan Taylor off the Colts for about a 500 team. You're right about
not even 500 teams.
No, you're right about that. No,
that is why he is.
I'm changing my vote. Coach Braxton is right.
If we talking basketball still, his plus minus is at least 20.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Usually that award for some reason usually goes to quarterbacks. That's number one.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is Cooper Kupp better, like more important to his team doing what he did, the Triple Crown, or is Jonathan Taylor, who didn't make the playoffs, more important to his team?
What I gotta say to that, hear me out.
Okay.
It would have to still be Jonathan Taylor. Cooper Kupp was more of a product, I feel like, of Matthew Stafford. I'm not taking anything away from Cooper Kupp. He's still a great receiver, but I do not think he puts up those same numbers together.
Here's what I would say as far as the Cooper Kupp versus Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan did more with less, right? And I say that because you knew he was getting the football and you still couldn't stop him. He's getting hit every single play. When it comes to Cooper Kupp, he's obviously dependent on Matthew Stafford getting the ball, just like Jonathan Taylor's dependent on the offensive line to do certain things. But there's certain attention that comes off of Cooper Kupp because you bring in a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. You see the route running of a Van Jefferson. You see what Tyler Higbee can do if you leave him uncovered. And as he stated, Matthew Stafford can fling the ball all around the field. So if I was to give my opinion on Cooper Kupp versus Jonathan Taylor, I would say Jonathan Taylor. I would say Jonathan Taylor is my MVP too, but a dark horse that I would like to throw in the hat, a name in the hat. And this guy did amazing things this year with no offensive line. Joe Burrow needs some consideration for what he has done, taking this team to the Super Bowl with that atrocious offensive line. I understand he's a weapon, but he put his behind him.
Even with
that's the one thing about Jonathan Taylor is that you can't argue that he doesn't play behind a very good offensive line. Their interior offensive line in Indianapolis is tremendous, man.
It is it's very good. And to Chris's point, Derrick Henry had a better year last year, didn't get one MVP vote, but we saw,
correct.
And in my personal opinion, we saw how valuable Derrick Henry is to that team. In the playoffs and even in the regular season when he was going, I think if he was in those games, I think they would have ran away with the number one seed actually, as opposed to
straight value. If people don't see that type of value right there, that's why they need to vote for Jonathan Taylor. The value is there still for running backs. Running backs still can take over a league if they really are that special. We've seen it with Christian McCaffrey, people like that. Like,
this might be a useless debate, given that during a golfing day, during a golfing event,
even with that is what he does to everyone in his path. So and when he was not there, we see what happened to that team. It was dependent on Ryan Tannehill not making mistakes, and like we seen before when he was with Miami, he makes mistakes.
Juan, you were saying?
Can't be the
during a golfing event today, Aaron Rodgers was being introduced, and the announcer goes, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, and then you see Rodgers hold up like the fourth before. So we basically might already have that settled and over and done with. But, there is one category that I don't think a lot of us are going to be able to agree on tonight. We can agree on most other ones. Defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, rookie for both sides. Coach of the year, I think, is the biggest variable coming into this.
That's a good one, Juan. That's good.
And before Ray has to go, man, I want to know who's your coach of the year.
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan. Okay, break it down. Why do you think Kyle Shanahan?
Because he doesn't. If you look at their players on offense, they're good. George Kittle is really the only special player they have on offense. Really, the other guys are Ayuk, Deebo Samuels are good players.
Deebo is special.
Man, he's a special player in that offense.
Deebo is what Cordell Patterson wants to be.
No. He's way better than that. Let's pump the brakes there. But again, I'm going to give it to a guy who does it and like George Kittle's the only special player on San Francisco's offense. They have nice players, don't get me wrong. He's the only special. He's the only guy that, when you look at him, he's in the top 2 or 3 at his position. Is Deebo Samuel a wide receiver or is he a running back?
He's an athlete.
Is he a top 3 wide receiver? The answer is no. Is he a top 3 running back? The answer is no.
He's a top 3 football player.
You know what? I'm sorry. I gotta agree with Ray on this one. Like, when you think about it,
I think George Kittle was more valuable, but I just wouldn't deny the special talent that Deebo is as well.
I think it's like this. If we're talking about Madden, Kittle is that X factor.
He is.
Everyone else might be a superstar or a star, but Kittle is the X factor.
He is. Everything they do is around him. You can run the ball because Kittle was such a great blocker. You could do a lot of things because of what George Kittle gives.
Absolutely. I think he's the most valuable player on that offense.
He controls the middle of the field. I don't like Kyle Shanahan. I don't like the 49ers. But I think if you look at their talent on offense to go as far as they did, he did a really good job. That's all.
It's a good choice. Good choice.
My vote, I love your take, and Kyle Shanahan is deserving of the award just as much. I will give my hat over to Tennessee's head coach, Mike Vrabel, solely because of how he was able to adapt over the course of the season, despite losing a lot of big names due to injury. Lost Julio to injury, lost Derrick Henry to injury, A.J. Brown, Bud Dupree. He even had to bring in a washed-up Adrian Peterson to blow out the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles. And you can't do a lot of that kind of work without good coaching fundamentals.
Don't you ever slander the name AP again.
He's to earn it too.
I am a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I am, but he lost in the first round, so that's where my fandom ends right there. And one more thing before I do get off, I love Jonathan Taylor. I wanted Miami to draft him in the first round of the draft 3 years ago. But Brian Flores' New England mentality that you don't need running backs is what killed them, okay? So.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Ray, we thank you for jumping on. We truly appreciate your insight and your input, man.
Yes, it was great, gentlemen. Anytime you guys want me to come on for whatever, you let me know, and I'm more than happy to do it, man. Again, Avery, happy birthday. It was nice again meeting your mom. It was nice to put a face to someone who I think did a great job raising their son. So I respect mothers and grandmothers more than anybody on the planet, so I'm good there.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great evening, sir.
You too, man. And I'm rooting for the Rams this week. I love Joe Burrow also.
You know what? Before you go, give us your pick. Who is winning the Super Bowl?
The Rams. And here's one more thing before I get off. And I know I keep saying one more thing. If Brian Flores would have lost games like he should have, I would have Joe Burrow on my team. Yeah. Thanks, these guys. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, so take it easy, man. All right.
All right, so
he's not wrong though. Ross did really want Burrow.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. According to The Simpsons, the Bengals will win.
Enough with that meme, y'all.
Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen. The Simpsons have never been wrong, okay? Okay, we already know who's winning the Super Bowl off that alone. We know who's winning the Super Bowl. Speaking of which, let's get into the next topic. Let's talk about the Super Bowl preview. What are some things that you're looking for in this game? Who is the marquee matchup that you're looking forward to? Who's the X factor for each team? I'll start with you, the one and only.
There's so many storylines coming into LA.
So many.
Too many. Way too many. Coincidences with both starting quarterbacks, both teams having stud pass rushers, an underrated secondary for the Bengals, an elite secondary for the Rams. Like the protege versus the master in Zach Taylor versus Sean McVay. There's too many, but I think like the biggest factor coming into this, I think it's gonna sound really weird and dumb, but it's going to be the fans. And why do I say that? Because Los Angeles, both the Chargers and the Rams, are notorious for not being able to attract enough home fans into the stadium. All right. Every game at SoFi has been something of an away game for either the Rams or the Chargers. Okay. And I know so many Cincinnati Bengals fans. It's ridiculous how many I know. Chris, you're fake news, but we'll get to that later. So, the fact of the matter is, I've met so many Bengals fans in my life. I'm privileged to have met so many of them. They will freaking stuff that stadium to bleed orange. All right. And I know that the Rams are built to be able to play in an away game because they basically play 17 away games a year. But with the Cincinnati faithful, it'll be too much. And, we always make the case that the 12th man always matters. And for Cincy, it matters in this case.
Okay. All right. I like it. Okay. Coach, what are your thoughts, man? Who do you think is going to be what's sticking out to you for the Super Bowl? Any marquee matchups? Anybody you think is the X factor here?
So as Juan said, it's a million to go to, but I like my name says, I love the inner workings of what's really going on. So my main two matchups really are Jamar Chase.
Hey, Pickett's a liar.
Jamar Chase against the double team, and T. Higgins versus Jalen Ramsey. And I say this because if you're thinking about it, people, Jalen Ramsey is a guy that he's on his side until they need him to shadow. He's not a guy that really wants to get up in your face. He's more of a press and bail, or he waits to see, because he is very, very good with his eyes, especially with the Rams. Especially with the Rams. I'm not saying he can't do it. I never stated that. Okay. But where his specialty lies is being able to press, bail, and see it with his eyes. Read the play, make a play on it. We see it all the time. He reads and reacts so fast that he's able to close a lot quicker than a lot of people, and does it well. Short tackle. But him versus T. Higgins is the better matchup, as the size will matter. And Jamar Chase will have more roll coverage to him, which will be the better option to go against a loaded Bengals offense.
So you don't think that it would be better to...
They would rather one-on-one coverage with Tyler Boyd and possibly Joe Mixon out the backfield than rather have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase going crazy.
Yeah, the smart man.
Come on, Pop. Listen, so you don't think that it would be better to completely potentially neutralize Jamar Chase by saying, listen, Jalen, you're going back to old Jalen. You're staying with this guy the whole game.
We've seen what happened.
And then we put the bracket coverage over the T. Higgins, the Tyler Boyd. See, and the reason I ask is because it could potentially resemble that Seahawks defense where Richard Sherman was like, I'm taking away this side of the field, like point blank period. I got this. It allows now Eric Weddle to come down in the box more, like Cam Chancellor, your safety over the top, because now he can, play over the top if T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd want to go deep. And so
the issue is the safeties. And they don't have enough healthy ones. Tyler Rapp may be able to play.
Every time you try to blitz Joe Burrow, the man's been very efficient against the blitz this postseason. All right.
But
he did.
Listen, my main thing
is neither confirm nor deny that statement. Let's just say, Mr. Roberts, let me know what your Venmo is.
In the playoffs this past season, like T. Higgins has dominated over the middle against bracket coverage, against the zone. So you don't want to do that. You want to have a guy that will get up in his face and stop him, while bracket coverage has been shown already to be able to stop or limit Jamar Chase.
Wow.
That is what you need to have your best bet to win.
Okay.
Like
this is coming from a Ravens fan who got cooked, so I understand. So,
I think Coach really brought up like the marquee.
I figured out how to stop them already. Listen, we had to do that already. Listen, I'm trying to call John Harbaugh.
Sidebar. I think John Harbaugh should be a dark horse to win Coach of the Year for having that team even close. Position
somehow
the playoffs. They will just decimated by injury. But Ron, go ahead.
You know what? I'm not going
to. So Coach touched upon the marquee matchup of this game, which is the Bengals wide receivers versus the Rams secondary. This is the marquee matchup. We cannot deny that. However, the underrated matchup, I think, that goes into this, I think it has to be the Rams offensive line against the Bengals defensive line. Look, we know that on the other side of it, for the Rams D-line versus the Bengals O-line, Donald and Miller are going to get their sacks. They're going to get their hits. This line, the Bengals O-line is not good. They don't even have an announced starter for the right guard. However, on the flip side of it, the Rams employ a former Bengal and an all-time great left tackle in Andrew Whitworth on the left side. And who's going to be playing against him? One of the premier free agent signings the Bengals made this year and the team sack leader in Trey Hendrickson. On the other side of it, Hubbard has been an underrated pass rusher and a good edge defender at that. So we are not discounting that. And this Rams offensive line has been top 10 in the league this year. Maybe not always being able to keep Stafford clean, but giving him enough time to take those deep shots to Odell, to Robert Woods when he was healthy, and to Cooper Kupp. So I'm going to be watching the battle of the trenches here, and it is going to be epic.
It'll definitely be interesting for me. I'm thinking it's the actual opposite. I think seeing the offense versus the Bengals defense. I want to see what Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp do against Eli Apple, specifically Eli Apple, because he talks heavy for somebody who is. I'm not gonna say he's a bum, but
he's a bust.
He talks more when he needs to. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna point out. And so. It's time now, ladies and gentlemen. With all that said, we got to get your game picks. I need to know, who do you have winning the Super Bowl? Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Bowl is right around the corner. I cannot wait. Coach, I'm going to start with you. Who's your pick?
I went back and forth on this so much. I was like, is it the feel-good story of the Bengals, or the yes, he's finally made it, Mr. Matthew Stafford? Either one would be great for entertainment, but
this is the first Super Bowl, I think, in a long time where any of us would be okay with the outcome. Like, any of us would be okay with the outcome.
I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy for whoever wins, because this is going to be nice. I don't think Joe Burrow gets the Super Bowl yet for him. I think it's going to Matthew Stafford. Rams over the Bengals, 24-20.
I like it. It'll be really, really tough if Matthew Stafford finally gets there and loses to a first-timer. I know they're both first-timers, but Matthew Stafford has been striving for this for 13 years, ladies and gentlemen. For 13 years, he finally gets out of a dumpster fire of an organization in Detroit and gets to a team that is not only a better organization, a more renowned organization, but an organization that basically told him, with all the moves they made, we believe in you and we are going all in. Man, that would hurt if he loses this game. So it'll be interesting to see. Juan, who is your pick? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you noticed before he gives his pick. I don't know if you noticed, but Juan is dressed for the occasion. Welcome back. Unzip the hoodie. Who's back in the building. We're going to get the reveal for the Super Bowl in just a moment.
Well, Avery, before I do, you just hyped up your pick. So, who are you taking real quick? Just so, because you already gave in your introduction for it.
Well, listen, for the first time ever, two teams will win Super Bowl at home, back-to-back, book it. Okay, Jerome has got the Rams. Listen, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Someone said, I don't find it funny that the Bucs won last year in their stadium for the first time. The Rams make it their first time with Matthew Stafford. So, some conspiracy that, But if I was going to give my pick, I honestly, and I said this last week, I'm not sure. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not sure if the Bengals are supposed to be here. I saw the Rams fight and claw and so for me, I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they're a little bit more battle tested in that regard, and I just think that they have better coaching, and I think holistically, I'm going to take their roster over the Bengals, especially when it comes to the trenches, that offensive line versus the Rams defensive line. I'm going to take the Rams. I've got it being 31-17.
So
with the Bengals!
Oh.
With the Bengals!
And yeah, guys, swag is an important aspect of football. Let's not joke around here. All right. And Joe Shiesty, I'll call him. He's Shiesty. He's Joe Shiesty. He's been nothing but swag since he got in this league. All right. He's dripping ice in post-game interviews. He's telling players, do not post your workout videos on Instagram, workout in silence. Like, that's just an underrated line, in my opinion. Not to mention shooting his shots with national reporters as a college graduate. Like, bro, you can't get any more freaking smooth than that. Not to mention some of the more elite weapons that he has at his disposal. T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, his dude, and Jamar Chase. And everyone was saying you need Penei Sewell in order for this Bengals team to succeed. And they said, F that, we're drafting a playmaker. And they brought in Chase, who shattered nearly every receiving rookie record you can possibly think of. Don't know what that means.
It's Penei Sewell. Don't forget.
Oh yeah. And we can say that the Bengals shouldn't be here. They're not supposed to be here. Well, guess what? In 2001, the Rams brought back the greatest show on turf to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. And who was there that wasn't supposed to be there? A scrawny little Patriots team led by a 6th-round pick by the name of Tom Brady. All right. Football is not a game of certainty. Any given Sunday is a phrase in this sport for a reason, and that's why I'm taking Cincinnati. 35-34. And Trey Hendrickson's your MVP.
Wow. One with a hot take. Wow. Well, listen, Jerome, he not all the way there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's the cold. It's the cold weather. It's got him. But hey, listen, he started with a hot take.
Weather is keeping my veins chill on these hot takes.
Hey, listen, he's starting the hot takes early. Speaking of which, it's Hot Take Thursday. I mean, we got one from you, Juan, already. Do you have another?
I do. Combined, I think Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford have 9 touchdowns.
Wow. I like it. It's good. Coach.
I love it actually, Juan, because my hot take. Mr. Cooper Kupp is going to have 3. Odell will have 3.
You're saying the Rams are going to score 42 points at least?
Cooper Kupp will have 3. Odell will have 3.
Okay. I mean,
yeah, okay. All right.
That's it. The mic drop. That's it. Okay. I like it. I'm not mad at it at all.
Silent assassin the coach is. Wow.
At all. All right.
What about me?
My hot take. Yeah. Okay. I got 2 hot takes. Odell will have the most yards by any player this game. Other than, the quarterbacks, throwing and stuff like that.
Put a number on it.
I'm going to say Odell breaks the Super Bowl record, not just breaks the Super Bowl record, but goes over 200 yards in the Super Bowl. Yep. But he does not get the Super Bowl MVP. It goes to Cam Akers. Boom! There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my hot takes. There you have it.
You
There
can't have one without the other. That makes no sense.
Wait, what?
Unless Cam Akers scores like 5 touchdowns in the game, you can't have one.
You heard it. You heard it here first. That's right.
I feel like I think I got waxed in my ear because I must have misheard.
Hot Take Thursday. And with that being said, it is the Air It Out podcast. Thank you all so much for joining on. We appreciate all the comments. Ray, if you're still watching, thank you for jumping on with us. We truly appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on all your social media platforms. That's Twitter at Inside Hashes, Instagram, Inside the Hashes, Facebook, Inside the Hashes. And don't forget to check out the website, www.insidethehashes.com. That's where you can get all the content. You can get gaming, you can get blogs, you can get podcasts, and more. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, please go to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you can know when we go live, so we can get your comments in live, so you can interact with us, okay? Listen, and for those who didn't know, I mean, we also do go back and comment if you decide to watch it at another date, another time, you know. Good evening from South Jersey. Okay, all right, Dad. Okay, no Central Jersey. Okay, you're on that train. See you next week. Thank you both for joining on. Truly appreciate it. For Juan, for Coach, my name is Avery Collins. This is the Air It Out podcast. I've enjoyed it. It's been a great show. I have to get this in here one time before we get out. Okay, it's the last time. I won't do it anymore after this, but you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
Did Coach call for another injury? I don't remember. Did he call for another injury?
He did, but I mean, not anytime recently. I think it was like right before the playoffs he did so. And I don't like it. But anyway, that's it for the Air It Out podcast. We are over and out. Matt Ryan, if you want to make it to the Super Bowl, you got to stop patting the football.
Matt Ryan is never going back.
Well, I don't think you understand that the Atlanta Falcons football has come out.
Oh my God, I never met Ryan.
For the love of God, please stop this. I am trying to speak over Avery. I don't care if it's your birthday.